Hi everyone, it's Leanne from Newcastle Libraries and I am back today to read you another story. This is one of our favourite authors with one of her most popular characters. It is Jacqueline Wilson and this is the first part of I Dare You, Tracy Beaker. Here we go. No Home. You know that old film they always show on the telly at Christmas, The Wizard of Oz? I love it, especially the Wicked Witch of the West with her cackle and her green face and all her special flying monkeys. I'd give anything to have a wicked winged monkey as an evil little pet. It could whiz through the sky, flapping its wings and sniffing the air for that awful stale instant coffee and talcum powder teacher smell. And then it would swoop straight on to Mrs. Vomit Bagley and carry her away screaming. That'll show her. I've always been absolutely tip-top at writing stories, but since I've been at this stupid new school, Mrs. VB just puts, "Disgracefully untidy work, Tracy," and "Check your spellings." Last week we had to write a story about night time, and I thought it an unusually cool subject, so I wrote 8.5 pages about this girl out late at night, and it's seriously spooky, and then this crazy guy jumps out at her and almost murders her, but she escapes by jumping in the river, and then she swims right into this bloated corpse, and then, when she staggers onto the bank, there's this strange flickering light coming from the nearby graveyard, and it's an evil occult sect wanting to sacrifice an innocent young girl, and she's just what they're looking for. It's a truly great story, better than any that Cam could write. I'll tell you about Cam in a minute. I'm sure it's practically good enough to get published. I typed it out on Cam's computer so it looked ever so neat, and the spell check took care of all the spellings, so I was all prepared for Mrs. VB to bust a gut and write, "Very, very, very good indeed, Tracy. 10 out of 10 and triple gold star, and I'll buy you a tube of Smarties at playtime." Do you know what she really wrote? "You've tried hard, Tracy, but this is a very rambling story. You also have a very warped imagination." I looked up warp in the dictionary she's always recommending, and it means to twist out of shape. That's spot on. I'd like to warp Mrs. Vomit Bagley, twisting and twisting until her eyes pop and her arms and legs are wrapped right around her great big bum. That's another thing. Whenever I write the weeniest, babiest little rude word, Mrs. VB goes bananas. I don't know what she'd do if I used really bad words like bleep and bleep and bleep. Censored. I looked up ramble too. I liked what it said. To stroll about freely as for relaxation, with no particular direction. So that's exactly what I did today, instead of staying at boring old school. I bunked off and strolled around the town freely, as relaxed as anything. I had a little potter and paper chase, and bought this big fat purple notebook with my pocket money. I'm going to write all my mega manic ultra scary stories in it, as warped and as rambly as I can make them. And I'll write my story too. I've written all about myself before in the story of Tracy Beaker. So this can be the story of Tracy Beaker too, or find out what happens next to the brave and brilliant Tracy Beaker, or further fabulous adventures of the tremendous, terrific Tracy Beaker, or read more about the truly terrible Tracy Beaker, even more wicked than the Wicked Witch of the West. Yes, I was telling you about the Wizard of Oz. There's only one bit that I truly dread. I can't actually watch it. The first time I saw it, I very nearly cried. I don't cry, though. I'm tough as old boots. New boots, the biggest, fiercest, reinforced Doc Martens. It's the bit right at the end where Dorothy is getting fed up with being in Oz, which is mad if you ask me. Who'd want to go back to that boring black and white Kansas and be an ordinary kid where they take your dog away when you could dance around Oz in your ruby slippers? But Dorothy acts in an extremely dumb manner all the way through the film. You'd think she'd have sussed out for herself that all she had to do was click those ruby slippers and she'd get back home. That's it. That's the bit where she says, "There's no place like home." It gets to me, because there's no place like home for me. No place at all. I haven't got a home. Well, I didn't have up until recently. unless you count the home. If a home has a capital letter at the front, you can be pretty sure it isn't like a real home. It's just a dumping ground for kids with problems. The ugly kids, the bad kids, the daft kids. The ones no one wants to foster. The kids way past their sell-by date, so they're all chucked on the rubbish heap. There were certainly some ultra-rubbishy kids at that home, especially a certain Justine Littlewood. We were deadly enemies once, but then we made up. I even gave Justine my special Mickey Mouse pen. I rather regretted this, actually, and asked for it back the next day, pretending it had just been a loan, but Justine wasn't having any. There are no flies on Justine, no wasps, bees, or any kind of bug. It's weird, but I kind of miss Justine now. It was even fun when we were deadly enemies and we played the dare game. I've always been great at thinking up the silliest, daftest, rudest dares. I always dared everything and won until Justine came to the children's home. Then I still won. Most of the time. I did. But Justine could certainly invent some seriously wicked dares herself. I miss her. I miss Louise too. And I especially miss Peter. This is even weirder. I couldn't stand weedy old Peter when he first came to the home. But now it feels like he was my best ever friend. I wish I could see him. I especially wish I could see him right now, because I'm all on my own, and although it's great to be bunking off school, and I've found the most brilliant hiding place in the whole world, it is a little bit lonely. I could do with a mate. When you're in care, you need to make all the friends you can get, because you don't have much family. There. That was I Dare You, Tracy Beaker. If you enjoyed that, we've got a copy of that available on our BorrowBox ebook service, as well as plenty of other Jacqueline Wilson books, both in ebook and audiobook. So go and check it out, and don't forget that will all help you to get your numbers for your summer reading challenge. We'll see you soon with another story. Thank you, bye.